they took us to the police station to question and threaten us. I literally like had panic attack every day. Maybe the next time they will, just put me in the prison and don't let me go. The conversion therapy is not banned yet. During this like almost 15 months, I had to stay in Italy because I don't have other documents.
The event that you told us about when you were just having lunch with your family and then you had to go to the police station, was that the point where you decided that something would have to change for you?
Hello, welcome to another episode of Voting with Your Life, a podcast by Eurodesk. I'm Lexi, we have Ike, and today we are going to be having a conversation with Max, and they are going to tell us a bit about their experience coming to Europe from a very difficult situation. And so this is really going to be an interesting episode. Hello, Max, how are you?
I'm okay.
Max, can you tell us a bit about yourself? How would you describe yourself?
Yeah, I'm a Chinese refugee and a dissident, resident in Italy. Now in 4 years, more than 4 years.
That's a long time already. How has Italy treated you so far?
Well, I would say I'm very grateful I have the opportunity to stay here, and because I flee away from the persecution. So I have friends, political prisoners there. So definitely, when I arrive in Italy, I feel the energy of the liberal democracy. Like I don't need to be afraid anymore. And like I used to have a panic attack every day when I was in China. But when I arrive in Italy, I know I will not have panic attack with this reason anymore.
You mentioned persecution. Can you go a bit more into detail about that if you're comfortable with that?
Yeah, when did it
Yeah.
start, and how did it start affecting you in the beginning? Was it that you had like difficult opinions for the regime to tolerate, or was it something just normal and people are prosecuted like that?
For me, because I started my activism 10 years ago, and I was still a minor. At the time, I was just like writing some articles to criticize some policies that the regime was doing, and then they started to notice me. And then I remember one day I was having lunch with my families, and then some people knocked the door, and we opened the door, and then it was like a policeman, and then they took us to the police station to question and threaten us. Yeah.
Oh no. Uh, so you were writing in a blog, and so even as a teenager, you knew that that was a reason for prosecution. Was it like when you started, did you have friends or colleagues that also helped you with that? That maybe you gave you some security, like VPN and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. I became an activism because I use VPN to navigate the Wikipedia, and then I found out the Tiananmen massacre, and then I was triggered and I was shocked by this event because no one told me before, and so I thought I lived in a completely lie. That was the beginning of my activism. And then when I started to also get into the community, other dissidents, they suggest me to use Signal. So yeah, I think I started to use Signal 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more what kind of policies, because there are a lot, of course, that you criticized, what was the main reason for you to start your blog?
Well, I think just a totalitarian, and there's no free election, no free speech, and the whole people and especially the civil society is still under oppressed. So basically, we have a lot of like kind of protests also among the ordinary Chinese people, but they are basically like call for like a better salary or something like that. But it will be cracked down nonetheless like very soon. And there was no media reported or something like that, and they could just arrest people whatever. But because we didn't have we still don't have the press freedom, so no one know. We only know that because we use VPN. So I think this is human rights abuse, and also about the historical events like what I mentioned before, the Tiananmen massacre. And there were like the victims of the families. They have like association, but they were also under oppressed. Um, so yeah, a lot of things.
Mm. The event that you told us about when you were just having lunch with your family and then you had to go to the police station, was that the point where you decided that something would have to change for you?
Sorry.
The event when the policeman came to your house and you had to go to the police station with them, was that the point where you decided that something had to change?
Had to change like my personal career, like I have to fly
No, probably
away.
prosecution. Like, did you, if they know who you are, if they know
Mm.
you are, let's say, a danger to the state, to the machine, um, then you know you are a target. Did you
Yeah,
immediately know I have to run away, or should we at least move houses within China? They could track you probably. So how did you react? How did your family adapt to that?
I didn't. But basically, before they took me to the station, my family was already being informed and harassed. Also, my school, they have already known my activism, but because at the time I was still minor, so they didn't find me directly. So I
Mhm.
was already know I was a target. But I didn't really think about like the possibility to run away. First of all, I'm not coming from a very rich family, and I didn't have a degree. And at the time, I was not confident about my English level at all. And also, although I do prefer run away, if I run away, I can run to like a United States, Canada, Australia, this English speaking country. But I know at least in the United States, there's no healthcare. And I already faced a lot of like mental health issues. I was already taken the antidepressants and this kind of stuff. So if I go to United States, then I need to pay a lot for my medical care as well. So the only possible way for me, the most economical way, I think, is to the European Union. So I had this idea in my mind, but I haven't decided until I live in Beijing. And at the time, my mental health was really bad. I literally like had panic attack every day. Like I was so afraid they will arrest me and they will like just knock the door again. But at that time, they will not just take me to the police station for whole afternoon, threaten me, and then let me go. Maybe the next time they will, just put me in the prison and don't let me go. So it really affects my mental health. And when I had panic attack and a very long depressive episode, I could not like get off the bed even for 1 week. So I know I'm I'm not mentally prepared to continue to live in this environment.
Mm. So when was
Okay,
the
so
final? Go ahead, Lexi.
wait.
Sorry.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, I'm very sorry that you had to go through that. Obviously, there's many people in that situation, and we don't even get to hear their stories. But it's still tragic for everyone. And I want to thank you for being here to talk with us. And another question that I had before Ike moves on, um, is that you said your family was being informed, and that they also the I say the government also talked with your school. Um, what did your family tell you? Like, hey, you have to stop this. You are getting us in danger. Like, or were they supportive of you? They said, yes, we also wish it was different. Like, how was it? Did you also have an environment of activists at home?
No, we didn't. So basically, our family, I think it's like average, the ordinary Chinese family. They are basically apolitical. So we don't talk about politics at home. But of course, when they took me to the police station and when they call my parents, they know. And then yeah, we had some talks, but very little talks. Basically just my security concern. Like they just basically tell me because they know how powerful the communist regime is. I think every Chinese people, even they are apolitical, I mean, yeah, they're apolitical. It's because they are all traumatized by the regime because they know if they talk about politics, and it's a risk.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also why a lot of people they are apolitical. So my parents just told me like you need to be careful, and so you did better like quite your activism. It's for your own safety. And if you're getting arrested, nobody can help you. Uh, even very interesting. In 2015, they arrest a lot of human rights lawyers, and then the human rights lawyers hire some human rights lawyers to help them, and then they arrest the and those human rights lawyers as well. So in the end, all the human rights lawyers was more or less in the prisons, and so that's the very hopeless and helpless situation we face. So I can very understand the concerns of my parents, and I was even very surprised they had this awareness, because because of the we don't have the press freedom. Usually we cannot access this information,
Mm-hmm.
but also it's because like during the Cultural Revolution, our family was a victim of Cultural Revolution as well. My the father of my grandfather was the member of Kuomintang, so the opposition party of the CCP. And then when the
Mm-hmm.
CCP hold the power, he was forced to put in the prison for like more than 10 years. And then he died.
You
So when
said
was
the
the final decision made that you were going to go to Europe?
Um, I think it's 2020. Yeah.
Mm.
And it was COVID time. Yeah, the COVID was really a huge trigger because the lockdown was so terrifying,
Mm.
and we were so afraid the lockdown will be normalized and it will not be go back to the normal life again.
Mm. Mm. So then you started to inform yourself about how to go to the European Union, what kind of processes you have to go through?
So it's very contradiction. Uh, first of all, we try to find some information about the visa application, and the easy way is to study. And then because Italy used to have a government has a close relationship with China, so they had agreements make the Chinese students easier to get a visa to come to Italy
Okay.
to study. So I was using that program to come to Italy. But my human rights work is like try to advocate the human rights, address the human rights abuse in China, and then warn the Western governments to not be so close to the Chinese authority. So yeah.
So you mentioned that your great grandfather, if I got it right,
Yes, yes.
um, he was part of the opposition party before the Communist Party came to power. I don't know too much about Chinese history, but is also that opposition party that then fled to Taiwan and is now independent. Okay,
Yes,
that's the same.
yes. Kuomintang, they are
Okay,
in Taiwan now. Mm.
okay. So now that party is the government of Taiwan.
Not anymore. They are also in opposition now.
Okay, okay, but they are there. Okay, okay, got it.
Yeah, they are still
So
there. Yeah.
going back to the process of Italy, you got a study visa and then you came. Because like in my mind, based on the movies I watched, like about dystopias, based on the things we hear about the Chinese regime, and also any authoritarian regime like North Korea, for example, I imagine that it's very complicated to come out, and especially if they had signaled you like, oh, this person is a risk, this person does not like the regime, they just let you leave. Like they
Um.
just said, oh, you want to go to Italy, okay, go.
Mm. There's also another funny part because there are a lot of different departments in the region as well. So if you are not a very important case, somehow your information is not well spread or well shared between the different departments. So of course there were some departments already noticed me. I don't know which level it is. It's a regional or municipality or national level. I don't know. I have no idea because it's a totally black box.
Mhm.
But the passport control, the foreign affairs, this kind of departments, they are different from the like a national security or the police. So I'm of course not the serious political cases or figure like they have to. Um, I'm not so important. So
Okay.
Mm.
I think the passport control that departments they didn't know my information. So when I try to pass the passport control, they just check if I have all the documents I need because I had a study visa. So I just need to prove all the documents for studying, like the offer I received from the school, blah 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 blah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then they let me out, and I was very happy.
Okay. uh, then you came to Italy. I'm not in Italy, but Ika is. Okay. And the idea is you come to Italy and then you became a refugee. So you came as a student, but then you told the authorities, hey, I came to study, true, but also I'm prosecuted. Can you help me? Like, how was that process?
I first of all, first I had a 2 years student resident permit, and then I decided to apply for asylum. It's a different process. I need to apply through the immigrant office, and then I was also lucky because I got some help from some organizations, and then they accelerate my process, and then we had a commission meeting, like a hearing in also very fun in 5 months. And then when we got there, like there was also around other 50 asylum seekers, and we waited there for the whole morning. They also only work in the morning. And then like at noon, the office should be closed, but nothing happened. and then they inform us today we will do nothing because today there is a strike,
Oh
so no
no.
one will come. So please go home. And then
Were the
they,
other refugees also from China or from all over the world?
yeah, from all over the world. But I think I'm the, at least at that time, I'm the only Chinese person. Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah, and then they gave me appointments in another 3 months. So I have to wait for another 3 months. And then finally at that time there was not strike anymore. So yeah, it went well. And then the results came out in 4 days, but there was not a digital platform to inform us the result. So I was so panicked and anxious. I need to wait for the letters, and the letters was sent from Rome, the capital. And
Hmm.
Italy is not a very huge country. I mean, if you ship a letter, it should arrive. If you give you one week, it should be enough, right? But at the time, it was in August, so it's Ferragosto. So it's a 2 weeks vacation. So I wait totally 1 month for my letters arrive from Rome to Emilia Romagna. It was not so far. Like if you take the bus, it's like 5 hours. But I wait for 1 month to receive my letter. And when I open my letter, they say, okay, they confirm me the refugee status. I was like, oh yeah, finally. And then I need to use this letter to go to the immigrants office, local immigrants office again to apply for my refugee travel documents and resident permits. And you guess how long I wait? I wait another 7 months. So totally during this like almost 15 months, I had to stay in Italy because I don't have other document.
Mhm.
Hmm. And it's a nice
So,
country to visit. So
hmm.
Sorry?
15 months in Italy, it's still a nice country to visit. So
Yeah. So that year I did a lot of political activism in Italy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you ran back and forth a lot, and you had to go through basically every bureaucratic process that Italy has. One thing is missing, though. What about the health insurance?
Oh, health insurance. That was also very
that's a
fun.
good point.
Oh my God. So as a student, usually before you can pay 150 euro per year and then you get a national health insurance, Testa Sanitaria. And then the Meloni government, they are not friendly for immigrants. So they higher the price. For a workers, you need like 1,500 euro per year. For us international students, you need 700 a year. But I was lucky when the new rule apply. I was already applying for asylum. So at first you were a asylum seeker, you got a 6 months resident permit, and then you can also get a 6 months Tesa Sanitaria, the national health insurance for free.
Nice.
Because for asylum seeker and for refugee, your health insurance is free. But the problem is your resident permit, your Tesa Sanitaria, the health insurance is valid uh, in the same period of your resident permit, and they only gave you 6 months. But I wait like 15 months. So I had to renew my resident permit. But it was also very difficult to renew it. You need to make an appointment, at least in my city, you need to make an appointment in 2 or 3 months in advance. But when I send the email many times, 2 or 3 months in advance, they never reply me. So I was very panicked because if I cannot renew my resident permits, my health insurance will also expired.
Mhm.
And I had to go to the office in person and wait. And then I saw an employee was coming, and then I catch her and explain my situation. And then they say, oh, they are sorry, but they received so many emails, so they could not reply in time. But they will try to reply in the next days.
Did they?
So yeah, so after several days, they reply me. They gave me appointment.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay,
Mm.
so you studied. Did you finish your degree already? Are you still studying?
I'm still studying.
When will
Okay.
you graduate?
I have no idea. The program will last 3 years. Yeah,
Mm.
it's my
Okay.
first year still because I changed my uh, study.
And afterwards, what will happen?
Afterwards, I don't know. I don't
But you
have
want to
any.
stay, probably, right?
I want to stay like in Europe.
Oh, but not in Italy?
I mean,
No, Ike, you have to understand that no one wants to stay in Italy, not even Italians.
yeah, that's the funny
Italian
part.
people that are watching this episode, you can leave a comment explaining your situation if you want to leave Italy or not. But what I see in the news is that young people are going away.
Yeah,
Mm.
But I believe Max is like me and wants to go to the European Union, like to Brussels, to do the political activism. So
Yeah.
yeah, because I was in Brussels many times for my activism. So every time I was in the European Parliament or some institutions, I can always heard Italian.
Mhm.
And there are also a huge Italian community. And the reason is the same because salary in Italy is very, very low. And in Brussels, you can get like 2 times or 3 times more salaries.
Yeah, or even more. In Italy, that's the
Yeah,
problem. There's no minimum wage.
yeah,
Um, that's one
yeah,
out of 3 countries in the European Union only. And so,
yeah,
of course, I get it. But I was thinking maybe also your social environment, because of course you got to know people, you probably have a social life there. So maybe, yeah, you would want to stay. But of course, I have another question. What about language? Was it very hard for you? Because living in Italy, I know that English is not, a language that you can rely on here. What's your impression?
esatto. Possiamo parlare italiano.
Mm-hmm.
I can.
possiamo.
The first year I was studying Italian completely, like in a language school for 10 years,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
and then I passed the B1 exam. But right now I think I'm more or less should have B2 level, but I didn't make a new exam.
Mm-hmm. And in the institutions, how was the communication there?
Well, if you mean the Italian institution, of course you have to speak Italian, and
Mhm.
so if you don't speak Italian, you have to have interpreter. But yeah, I was lucky because the first year when I need to make my resident permits in the immigrant office, we were a group of students together, and the teacher was helping us. So the
Okay.
first year was no a problem, and the second year I already had B1 level in Italian, so it was fine for me.
Mm-hmm.
So what
And
languages do you speak now? You speak Mandarin, Chinese, you speak English, you speak Italian anymore? Like maybe
I
French?
can speak slightly Cantonese because I'm also from the Canton region,
Hmm.
region in China. But I mean, because the school they only teach us Mandarin, it's also like the colonized products, right? They don't teach you the local dialects, and also it's forbidden to speak Cantonese in school. But
Oh.
outside of school, of course, the people speak Cantonese most of the time. So I was in this environment, so I can understand a lot of Cantonese, but unfortunately, I cannot really write or read somehow, and I can only speak a little bit. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. You were talking about the teacher supporting you and also organizations helping you. What kind of support did you did you receive apart from that? Also, maybe in China, was there
Mhm.
somebody helping you?
Yeah. In China, I cannot help you because if I tell you, I will put the person's
Of course.
organizations at risk. So
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, not. But yeah, in Italy, I received some support from some gender diverse communities and trans organizations because I'm also non-binary, transgender. So one of the reason I apply for asylum, it's also related to my gender identity because China, for example, the convention therapy is not banned yet. And if your parents, they are conservative, they are close-minded, they want to control you, they can send you to convention therapy clinic or military school to force you to change your sexuality or gender identity like that. And it was definitely a human rights abuse. And so yeah, I got help from the trans community there, but I also have spoken to some lawyers, and I met one very good lawyer because we were just like chatting about politics, and then I expressed like my political opinion, my political stance also on Italy, and then I also remember at that time it was the campaign for the opposition party from the Liberal Azione to Più Europa to Partito Democratico to Alleanza Verde Sinistra to Movimento Cinque Stelle. This opposition party united together, they made a proposal, want to pass the salary minimum, the minimum salary for €9 per hour. And I was talking about this, I definitely support their campaign. And I was helping the campaign as well to collect the signatures. And this lawyer was very moved by me. Like, I'm not a citizen. I'm not Italian citizen. I'm not European citizen. I'm not even a refugee. I was still a student. I was planning to be a asylum seeker. And I was already so involved in the local politics. So he was so moved and he said, okay, he can help me. And without me paying anything.
Nice, very nice. It's actually very important because a lot of people are born here, are citizens, and they don't do like 1/10 of what you do. So the fact that you came here and obviously you are thankful for what you get, you are also giving back. So I understand this stance on like being promoted because I'm also, and you integrated in the communities that could help you, but you are also helping them, gender community and the queer community. So uh, I also see, for example, in your Instagram that you, Max, you support also other, like you are in My Voice My Choice, you are pro psychedelics. So what are the topics that you are advocating most for now? So you started by the minimum wage, and how does your journey go from there?
Yeah. So it also depends on different political contexts. For example, minimum wage is a very Italian or Finnish thing because I think in the European Union, Italy and Finland and also a few countries don't have a national minimum wage. So we are
Yeah,
in a
Denmark.
really also a very special situation. So I was advocating for this minimum wage. But overall, I am a very radical supporter of the universal basic income, but it's very hard to talk about this in this time because I don't see any politicians they have this courage to make universal basic income into the agenda. But yeah, I want to do this thing as well. And of course, the psychedelic, we had a European Citizen Initiative. It's like My Voice, My Choice, or the Against Convention Therapy. They also collect signatures, but they failed. But yeah, I'm still a volunteer in their initiative, try to uh, raise the awareness. And in Italy, we also have a campaign called Mero Legale. It means that it's better to legalize. It's for the legalized cannabis campaign. It's organized by one of the most decent liberal party, Più Europa. It means more Europe and radicali. And I was also helping them as well. And also for the euthanasia, the Associazione Luca Coscioni, right? Coscioni was also doing this thing. I was also favorable for it. I want the idea like from the Netherlands or Switzerland. But when I was in Germany, when I mentioned about my activism about euthanasia, it was tricky because German people, they are traumatized by the Nazi regime. The Nazi regime used the idea or the term of euthanasia to murder the disabled people or Jewish or sexual minority people. So in that context, sometimes people are traumatized to hear about euthanasia. So I have to be specified. No, of course, I don't support you use euthanasia to murder people, but to die in dignity.
Mhm.
And also, of course, for the LGBTQI plus rights and the reproductive freedom, they are also my thing. And I'm also strategically a European federalist, especially under this Trump administration. I think Europe should really unite together to against the threat. And also, of course, I will do my advocacy on Chinese human rights and also against the dictatorship, whatever is from Putin or Khamenei, Iran or North Korea, even Venezuela. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really a lot, and uh, it's a lot to do, especially when you are not paid. I know that this is also a concern for you, that political activism is not compensated in any way. So if people want to be active in politics, they have two options: either they are rich or they burn out. So if you would like to share some thoughts.
I'm not rich at all. I'm very lucky. Most of my political activism, I can get a travel reimbursement because it was some like events or projects organized by some organizations or political parties or parliamentary group or something, youth organization like that. And also thanks to the Erasmus Plus youth exchange or training course, I know Lexi in the Erasmus training. So
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So yeah, I was very lucky and also very grateful about this kind of opportunity I give. And also the rest of time, if I cannot get reimbursement, I just try to book the as cheap as the flights or transport possible, and then I try to find couch surfing to let people host me, so I don't need to pay for the hotel. And sometimes I do write some articles, and sometimes I get paid for it, but it's very unstable.
Hmm. Yeah.
Mhm. Just
So,
to let our listeners or viewers know, in case they don't, which I would be surprised because they follow Eurodesk, is that you can also do Erasmus not just to study but also to travel and learn in non-formal education, and that's how my English is fucked up, but me and Max met in a training course in south of France to talk about utopian thinking. So it's really incredible because you get to meet people from all over Europe and the world, and then you are getting reimbursed for all the costs, and you are learning. You get a diploma, so you also should look like for Erasmus plus projects on Instagram or other places or Facebook, and you may find good opportunities.
Mm.
so
And
I
also
think
when
we're.
you uh,
Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
when you mentioned the burnouts, I remember when I was in the European Green Congress. It was only
Mhm.
3 days. After the 3 days of participation, I burned out for 3 weeks.
Oh.
Oh,
So I had a very long depressive episode as well during the 3 weeks, and because I was getting very too much overstimulated by the social events or networking events, they always play a very loud music, and you know. So yeah, unfortunately, a lot of political spaces is still not very neurodivergent friendly. So this is also my area I want to advocate for.
All
yeah.
right.
And what about the future? So you want to continue to be politically active. You have a degree to finish. What are you studying?
I'm doing legal studies.
Okay, to be a lawyer or something else.
I have no idea.
Non voglio essere un avvocato.
Thank you.
And let's see then. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I also studied law, so I understand it opens many doors, but then you still have to decide which door to choose. But yeah, if it was not for political activism and the institutions themselves, what country of Europe that you have already visited would you like to live in terms of quality of life, of what would you like?
I mean, for activism, definitely you cannot avoid Brussels. And I even have the Brussels transport subscription for 1 year because I was 24 years old, and when I subscribe is if you're under 24 years old, you can have the subscription in 12 euro for the whole year. So now I even have the subscription for the Brussels transport. And yeah, that's a very amazing place for me. And also I think the Netherlands, because they are very open-minded. And also one thing I need to mention about is in the LGBT and far right area, we have these concepts, homo nationalism.
Hmm.
But in Italy or in Poland, in this conservative country, we don't have this homo nationalism because homosexuality, rainbow LGBT is not normalized. Yes. But like in Netherlands, in Benelux, in Nordic, the LGBT community, they are mainstream and normalized. So even the far right politician, they cannot attack the LGBT community. If they attack the LGBT community, they will lose all the vote. But they can use LGBT community as a political weapon
Hmm.
to attack the Muslim, to use Muslim as a scapegoat, because they can accuse the Muslim they are homophobia. And we need to protest LGBT community because inclusion for the LGBT people is our national value, and Muslim is against our national value. So we need to keep the Muslim out. This is a narrative the far right hold in the Netherlands, for example. And in the one hand, I really hate that. But in the other hand, it also uh, point out that in the Netherlands, if you are an LGBT person, even a far right party, they cannot attack you. So in this case, I do feel as an LGBT person, I will feel safer in the Netherlands. But of course, I'm against the far right party use our agenda to attack immigrants.
That's a very nuanced position and seems the most humane one. I see that the far right is a bit growing in all of Europe. Uh, like even in Portugal, we now have presidential elections, and the second biggest candidate was the far right. He's projected to lose, but still, in other countries, in Romania, it was like much closer. How do you feel about that? Like you fled from a totalitarian regime, and now you see people that they are not totalitarian yet, but they would probably be. Like, how does that make you feel that it's growing?
On the one hand, I'm really afraid because the far right agenda is horrible. They attack the minority group. They attack, like, if they are not in Benelux or Nordic, they attack immigrants. If they are in other countries, they attack both immigrants and LGBT community. And on the other hand, realistically speaking, nowadays, if a far right party they want to governance, they want to form a stable coalition of the governments, they need to learn from Meloni. They need to learn from Italy. Before Meloni came to power, Meloni was far more radical, but now she become a pragmatic conservative.
Hmm.
So now, even the Ursula von der Leyen was kind of have a good relationship with Meloni. Even in the European Parliament, we have this firewall against the far right, like the EPP. They are not collaborating with ECR or this far right group.
Yeah, but
But
just officially though.
yeah, just officially. But sometimes they work together. Like when I remember this year in Germany in the Bundestag, the CDU and CSU they vote together with AfD for an anti-immigration law, and in Italy is the Forza Italia is from EPP, and Meloni from ECR and another far right they form a coalition together, and they have this government for more than 3 years now, and also in Spain the PP, the Partido Popular. From EPP and with Vox, this far right, they had a coalition together as well. So I'm the thing I'm concerning the most is that there are some conservative, there's an EPP, they give out the firewall against the far rights. They collaborate with far right. That is horrible. But right now I'm in Poland. In Poland, the EPP, the Donald Tusk party, the civil coalition, they are the frontline party to against the far right, to against the peace or Confederacja. So they form a government with the progressive, with the social democrat, with the left, with the green, with the liberal. And that's what I want. That's what I want to advocate for. So I think our strategy is to support some still a decent EPP members, to warn them to not collaborate with far right. Because without your EPP support, at least nowadays the far right could not hold the majority. But if your EPP support the far right, then you will be horrible. Then you will hold the majority, and the whole agenda will change.
Okay, so that's what we take for the future, is that we need to reflect better on our politics, probably consider the privilege that we live in democracies, and that we somehow, somewhat have the power to shape politics. And again, be more active, right? Because being active is the only way that we can get our values and our opinions as well heard. And so we can all learn from Max that we can find the causes that matter to us, join, volunteer, advocate, participate in events, whether in our country, whether in Brussels or anywhere else. And so, Max, I thank you very, very, very much for taking the time to talk with us and to tell us about your experience. Ike, would you like to say some final words?
I would like to ask Max for some final words. Is there anything that you would like to say or state before we end this podcast episode today?
Yeah, I think I just want to continue a little bit my last speech, because I think Europe is a diverse society, and our motto of European Union is united in diversity. And I remember the motto of Toronto is like unite our strengths. And I really like this idea, how the society how diverse it is, but we can still unite together. It's not like America, we only have Republicans and Democrats, you can only pick one. But in Europe, we have so many different political groups you can vote, you can choose. But in the end, if we want to have a stable and reliable governance, we have to collaborate with each other somehow. And for me, collaborate with far rights is unacceptable. But nowadays, I also acknowledge or observe that even in the progressive coalitions, people tend to hate each other, like some green hate socialists and left hate green, and socialist green, they hate EPP and blah, blah, blah. And so if our progressive coalition cannot unite it together, and you put EPP closer to the far right, in the end, eventually it will hurt all of us. So I think also one of the things I learned from the My Voice My Choice campaign is like, because My Voice My Choice campaign is for advocate for the reproductive rights. Usually people have this mindset or stereotype that the EPP, the conservative, they are not favor the reproductive rights. But we also saw almost half of the EPPs and EPs, they vote favor for the My Voice My Choice. It's also because this initiative, they also talk to the EPP people, they didn't give up on talking with different people, with different coalitions, with different parties. And in the end, they convinced some conservative member even to support the reproductive rights. So I think we really need to talk to each other. In this world of polarization, people tend to hate each other. But if we govern, if we do our activism, if we mobilize people only by hate, it will be horrible. We will face a horrible future. And so I think we need to tolerate some difference between us, among us, but we still need to hold a common ground, like we need to always pro the human rights, pro the rights and dignity of everyone, including the minority group. And based on this line, we can have different opinions or, but we live in the same society. We live in the same society with different opinions people, like even anti-fascists and fascists, they live in the same country, in the same society, and we are not in a civil war yet, hopefully. And I hope we will not have a civil war in the future as well. So let's try our best to talk to people and try our best to debate and not to cancel each other easily or spread hate easily or even accuse other people as fascists easily. In my case, so yeah, I think this is solidarity, and this is my my hope and my political view.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Max, for coming on our podcast and for sharing so much about your life and you. And I'll definitely check where you are, what you're doing, how life goes on for you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank
Thank
you
you
for
too.
these final beautiful words as well. Really inspiring and much needed for reflection for all of us. Maybe not everyone that listens to it will agree because of such polarization, but I think it's important for all of us to reflect. So thank you again for coming, and see you around. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank
See you in the next
you.
episode.
Bye bye.